What is going on, everybody, and welcome back into Byerly Studios for another awesome project. Now, a few weeks ago, me and my wife had the opportunity to go to our first 3D ultrasound. Now, we have two amazing children already, and this is our third that we're expecting. Super exciting times, you guys. But my wife had handed me this 3D picture of the ultrasound, and I thought to myself, man, I think I can sculpt that. So lo and behold, I had just got my first container of Monsterclay. And I am so excited to get some projects knocked out with this. And the first opportunity I had, of course, is to sculpt my third child. So what I'm doing here is we're going to go ahead and sculpt this out in a nice kind of replica of what the 3D ultrasound looks like in the top left-hand corner here. And this is quite a doozy of a project. It runs about 47 minutes long at this 12 times speed video. And this video is shrunken down quite a bit. In total, I was able to sculpt this on YouTube and TikTok Live. So all of those full real-time sculpting sessions are available on YouTube under the Live tab there. So definitely check that out if you want to see some real-time sculpting. Of course, when it's sped up like this, you really don't see all the time that's invested in the nitty-gritty and, thinking about where things need to be added and removed. You just get to see the nice, cool shapeage of the clay as I work through the process in a lot faster manner. So definitely sit back and enjoy. Like I said, exciting times, exciting new products that I'm trying out here. And I look forward to producing a lot more projects in the future with Monsterclay. Definitely an absolute product that I have to have in the studio at all times. And I look forward to getting more for future projects. So as we work through this process, the first quarter of the video is me kind of really just blocking things in, deciding where I need to add the overall bare bones of the sculpture. And then as we work into later stages, you'll see that I'll add the lower arm across the bottom. And the arm is kind of shooting across the chin, up at an angle, and then the fingers are undercutting the arm there, as you can see. So I'm going to try to incorporate as much of this as possible, and I'm going to try to meet that perfect medium between the actual legitimate ultrasound with the liquid being captured around the body of the baby, and me adding possible skin and overall feel texture in particular areas just to make it look a little bit more eye-pleasing. So I want that perfect medium between the two, whereas I'm not filling it in with what I think it should be completely, but I'm also letting some of that 3D ultrasound imagery show through some of my artwork here. So it's really cool, really fun, and it was a really relaxing process to be able to sit back and do this on YouTube Live like I was able to. But anyways, guys, go ahead and sit back and enjoy the next 45 minutes or so of this video. I have some relaxing classical music playing in the background, and I'll catch you at the very end of the process where we're kind of just wrapping up and finishing up the last details before we actually cast this for me to make a cool display piece of art that will feature the confetti from the gender reveal that we had, as well as the actual ultrasound picture itself. Enjoy, guys. So I will hop in here and just say that my kids often come into the studio, while I'm working. They come in and watch like Choo Choo Trains on the television or something. And my daughter came in while I had the "Be Right Back" sign up on the live there, and she actually put this little bobble bug-eyed plastic eye in the place of where the eye is shadowed and not actually visible in the ultrasound. And I was like, that is so super cute, and it made it look kind of like a stink eye or a bubble eyes, like just sitting there in the sculpture. And I was like, that's kind of funny. So I actually left this for quite a while just to kind of just add some character to the overall sculpture. I do remove this here in a few minutes, but it's just I just left it kind of just as a memento of the fact that her sister was in the studio kind of tinkering, messing with things, and she decided to put this big old bug eye on her sculpture. It was very funny in the moment. Definitely a memory that I want to hang on to. All right, so with most of the face kind of really blocked in, now I do have some fine-tuned details here and there along the process. For instance, adding some more meat around the upper lip, detailing around the nose, and things like that. And I'll do that over time. But with this kind of done, I wanted to have a really kind of, I wouldn't say abstract look, but it does turn out type of, in a way, abstract. And I say that because I'm going to go ahead and add the lower arm where the arm is cutting across the lower part of the chin. The arm disappears into the background of the 3D ultrasound, and then the hand kind of cups around, and then the fingers are kind of shooting from underneath the palm of the hand, and you see 3 little fingers kind of poking out over our right hand side of the eye. And that whole right hand side of the face was really in the shadow, and it wasn't really visible. So I just kind of for what I thought it would look like, incorporated that in and kind of completed that out a little bit so that it didn't feel just super out of place when I painted it later. So the right hand side of the face was more so shadowed than the other, and it wasn't really visible. But we're going to go ahead and sculpt that in for what we think it should be, right? So I'm going to go ahead and continue that arm across. It kind of disappears a little bit into the background of the sculpture here. And then that wrist bone and then the upper thumb and knuckle kind of appear up towards the forehead there. So sit back and enjoy. I just want to kind of explain that I'm bringing that lower arm or that side arm across the chin, up and around to the forehead where those fingers are going to be popping through. you will notice here that there is quite a bit of a void there between the bottom of the wrist bone and the arm that's kind of cutting across the chin there. I do decide to come in here with some clay and kind of fill that in. I just felt like it added a little bit of strength to the overall sculpture. And when I go in to cast this to make the plaster mold for the kind of like the wall art piece that I'm trying to have in my mind here, I want to make sure that that's not a weak point and something that could break or just have problems with. So I do go ahead in a few seconds here, and I'll kind of fill that in with clay, kind of smooth that out just so it's raised off the existing tile piece here, and I'll just kind of continue that arm into the background in a way through the little flat piece of clay that I add, or background, and then it kind of shoots up again towards the forehead there. I'm really kind of taking a lot away from the hand here. I did at some point during this process remove quite a bit, and then the hand looked really so bony and skeleton-like that it felt right, but it felt out of place. So I did come back and add a little bit more meat and material to the upper portions of the knuckles and to the palm and the meat of the hand, and it just felt a little bit more human-like when I did that. And then the ultrasound really didn't capture that part of the sculpture or the baby very well, but I'm just going to still try to incorporate that into the sculpture if I can, just to kind of keep the aspect ratio between all of the anatomy kind of close together. You know, I want it to look decent when you look at it from across the room, and if it looks a little bit abstract when you get up close to it, then I'm kind of okay with that. And that's the goal with filling that in, is I wanted to incorporate a little bit of strength to that overall casting and the sculpture in general. So as you can see in the top right hand corner, we are in the final session now. Now this is really me just locking in all of the little nitty gritty details here. I'm really trying to work towards the end goal in this session, and I really wanted to make this the last session because I felt like the overall project was running a little bit too long. And I did do this 100% on YouTube Live, so all that time that I invested in this is kind of broken down in a real-time view for you guys. So if y'all want to check that out, at the very end of this video will be a link to go to that playlist, or the very first video in that series if you want to watch them in order. And at the end of each video, it will lead you to the next one. Now that is a long series though, so that's why I wanted to try to incorporate this into a time-lapse version as well. And I'll probably start trying to do this into quite a few more videos in the future. But I will probably have more of a mindset of where my camera view is, so that way I can get a little bit of a closer angle at some points during those live streams. It's a little bit more detailing as far as cutting out clips and pieces here and there to make it more uniform, but it's still important. I'm also going to go ahead and add a little bit more meat to that upper lip. Me and another TikToker, a sculptor, which I respect very much, also mentioned that they felt like the lip was a little bit flat, and I agreed. So I'll go ahead and add a little bit more clay to the upper lip just to bring that forward just a little bit, give it a little bit more meat and detail. And I'll also do that around the nose as well. The nose itself has a little bit of divot into it on the bridge of the nose. That's where the ultrasound kind of took over, and I decided to kind of keep that in there instead of making it super ultra smooth where it may be when the baby comes out, but I wanted to kind of incorporate some of the ultrasound details into that sculpture around the nose. And that way it kind of holds some of those values when you look at the ultrasound picture beside the casting of this and then the actual sculpture that I made. It kind of looks similar to one another, even if it's not absolutely perfect. So enjoy the last few details here, and we'll catch you at the very end of the video. All right, you guys, what do you think? I'm liking the very last few details here, kind of adding a little bit of meat and material around that right-hand side cheek. And the ultrasound kind of caught a little bit of that. Maybe it's being pushed up by the arm or some of the fluids, or there's no telling. But I went ahead and applied that, and I think that adding that meat to the upper lip really did help quite a bit. The overall sculpture, I'm absolutely ecstatic with how it turned out, and this being pretty much the very first sculpture that I've ever made with Monsterclay, it met my expectations in every single way, and I do appreciate them putting out such an amazing product. I do look forward to using more of the Monsterclay products in the future for mask making and other sculpture projects, so I'll be ordering some more totes in the future. What do you think, guys? I hope y'all enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment below what you'd like to see next. I'll catch you later, guys.